Hey everybody, it's me, KkrakK. Been a little while, so um, it's been a bit because our good friend YouTube has kind of changed things again. I had some issues with my computer, kind of did an overhaul of my computer as well to kind of get it running a little smoother. Um, but I guess some of the new guidelines with YouTube is that you have to have a certain amount of subscribers to be able to do live streaming, which kind of blows. I think there might be a way using some kind of capturing programs, but I'm sure if I spent some time, I could figure it out. It's not my thing. So I don't have interest in figuring that kind of stuff out. It makes my brain hurt, and honestly, it just gets me more frustrated than anything. I don't know, I'm just disappointed. And it's the same thing that all of us have said at one point or another. I'm just kind of disappointed that YouTube has kind of changed things. The live events are what I really enjoyed, and honestly, I don't see myself doing as many videos because that's gone. The thing that I grew to really enjoy was kind of the live interaction. I do love the messages and stuff back and forth for sure in the comments, but it was that live interaction that I really enjoyed a lot, talking to you as I'm filming these instead of filming them talking to myself in a room with twinkly lights behind me, as you can see. So since I was going this route, figured I'd play around with my camera a little bit more, just to see what kind of stuff I could do, try to do a little bit of a different setup and different lighting and stuff like that. So this is going to be kind of a jam-packed episode for you. There's quite a lot of stuff I wanted to show you and talk about. I just came from Toronto this past weekend, where I went to a course through the union. I was Train the Trainer, teaching you how to be a better instructor, teaching some skills. Overall, it was pretty great. Some parts were more engaging than others. But it's funny, I left Toronto, I don't know how many years ago now, a long time ago. Feels like a lifetime ago. At least 16 years ago, probably 17 years ago, 16 years ago. And I left with kind of a bad taste of Toronto in my mouth. I was commuting there for school every day or 5 days a week for 1 year only. But that was enough to kind of burn me out of the city, big city living and stuff. So I left with really not much of a desire to go back. So I wasn't dreading. I was kind of excited going to Toronto. A friend of mine came in who lives in Kitchener-Waterloo, and we hung out. I haven't seen him in at least 10 years, something like that. So that was pretty great, hanging out and just kind of catching up. But I left Toronto this time really enjoying it. I think part of it was I was staying in a great area. I was staying near Chinatown. So I was exposed to a lot of amazing food stuff that I really like. Going for like a Mongolian hot pot, going for ramen, going for sushi burritos, going for all of this just incredible food, like really great. And because I was staying in this kind of area where there was a lot to see, it was about a 15-minute walk from where I was going to these classes. It was probably a 25-minute walk from Union Station. So I ended up walking a lot those 4 days that I was there, a hell of a lot. Got almost kind of double my step count in for each day. So that felt really great. And I really enjoyed it. I got a chance to visit a couple of places I've always wanted to go that I've never been to before. The Beguiling, which is one of the comic shops in town. Silver Snail I had been to before when I lived in Toronto, and I remember not being very impressed with it back then, and I wasn't impressed with it this time either. I didn't pick up anything from there. It had back issues and things like that. They dealt mostly in kind of mainstream comics, though, probably 95% mainstream comics, and it just wasn't super engaging for me. I wasn't looking for any big key back issues or anything. I made it to Color Code, which is the place I've talked about before on this channel. Tetsunori Tawaraya's stuff, the spiral bound comics that I can see just out of arm's reach away. Amongst other things that I picked up from them over the years. I think the first time I picked something up from them was 4 years ago now. So I've been a big fan of everything that they do, or stuff that I have anyway. And I had almost run out of time, and on my very last day when I was coming back, I had hit a couple of places to get some souvenirs for the families. And when I was it was my last stop before I was going to go to the train station, even though I was hours before my flight. It just so happened I ended up probably about a 15-minute walk away from Color Code. So I made a point of making a beeline right for it. And that was super amazing to be able to see that place and kind of talk to people there and get a little tour. So I'm really, really glad that I managed to fit that trip in. So yeah, it was a really good experience overall. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, though, was stuff that wasn't from this trip. So I believe it was Chris Burnham on Twitter who was talking about, who said, show me your favorite Giallo-inspired comics. And it's something I never really had occurred to me. I've talked about Giallos here on this channel before, the Italian kind of thrillers, the movies that were based on kind of the yellow paperbacks, which is where the term comes from. And I never really thought of a Giallo-inspired comic, but that idea really appealed to me. It was one of those comments that you see when you scroll by. It just caught my attention. And I responded to him and just kind of did a little digging myself because I thought that's a really cool idea. I wonder what that would look like if given someone with a very kind of distinct style. And I came across a woman, Sarah Horrocks, Horrocks. My apologies if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. She has a bunch of work out there. She's done some covers for places like Image, I think Top Cow. She's done writing about comics for Fantagraphics, for Comics Journal, I believe. And then she does a bunch of her own stuff. So I ordered a couple of her kind of collections, and they're kind of magazine size. And this is a series called The Leopard. I ordered the first 2 volumes of that. I believe there's only 3. If you type in her name, I'll try to remember to put links. I'm really horrible at actually remembering to do these things I say in these videos. So chances are it's not there, but in the off chance that I have put it in there, click it, click it and check out her work. She's got a lot, quite a lot, and all of it looked really, really impressive. This is just the one that I chose. There was no specific reasoning behind it. I only had a little bit of money in the PayPal to spend, and this is the one that jumped out at me. So it's called The Leopard, and for Giallos, it's really, the Italian Giallos, they really are, there's kind of a vibrancy and kind of a real distinct look to some of them. So that idea of that translating to comics, it's just such a great idea, and her style is incredible. So if you take a look at pages like that, really, really impressive. As soon as I discovered her doing kind of a Google image search, and some pages from this book popped up, it immediately hit me that I need to pick up some books from Sarah. She was kind enough also to sign and do a little, I believe, it's hard to tell sometimes, frames being dropped. So let's have a look. So this is the thing. I've lowered the, sorry to interject a little sidebar here. So the thing that's happened sometimes with this program and my computer, it can't seem to keep up with the capacity. So I've really lowered the quality of the image. And usually what happens is the timer that I'm looking at that's saying 9 minutes and 10 seconds, it'll start to really pause. So I have a feeling it's still going okay. I'm not seeing any lag. So I might end up chopping this video up into a couple of pieces and then trying to edit them together again, which is probably a good idea. Maybe we'll do 10-minute chunks. Anyway, so she signed it, and I can't tell because of the lighting in here. I can't tell if it's a sketch or if it's something that was always there. I imagine it's a sketch that she did. So that was really nice of her. Found her on Twitter as well, and friended her, and I'm impressed. So this is The Leopard #2. I haven't dug into these yet. They just showed up in the mail yesterday. But again, it's really, really amazing work. I love the bold colors and kind of the figures themselves. That little bit of roughness to everything is super appealing. Like, look at that. It's just amazing. Amazing work, Sarah. If by chance you're watching this. It's a creator that I'm absolutely going to be keeping an eye on and checking out more stuff for sure. So that's the Leopard issues 1 and 2 from Sarah Horrocks. Check her out. Do a Google search. So there's the spelling of her name right there. So I will pause and I will be right back.